and it needs to be fixed in a humane way with secure borders that don't torture and kill people, and how we're
humane borders that don't torture and kill people. I mean, I'm sorry, man, but like the borders aren't the one that's torturing and killing people. It's the people that are bringing these immigrants over that's the one doing the torturing and killing. Like, blame the cartel. We ain't doing none of that. That's the cartel. That's their business. We're just trying to keep them out. That's what the borders do. It's to try to deter them. Sadly, don't even do that.
Have a strong family structure, because it is at the
It went too far, she says. Border Czar Tom Homan joins us now. Thank you for joining us, Tom. And, you know, it's interesting to hear Hillary Clinton now come out and say that the Biden open border crisis was exactly that. It went too far. It was disruptive and needed to be fixed, which the Trump administration is now attempting to do.
Well, look, you're exactly right, Griff. We heard for 4 years the border's secure, while over 10 million illegal aliens crossed the border and released in this country, not properly vetted. President Trump has given us the most secure border in the history of the nation. He did that in like 7 weeks, right? And when he did that, look at the thousands of lives he's saving, Griff. You've been down there plenty of times. You know, we don't have children drowning in the river. We don't have historic sex trafficking, women and children coming across the border. We don't have historic numbers of Americans dying from fentanyl comes across the open border. We don't have 400 plus national security threats from terrorist-related countries coming across the border. President Trump is a game changer, gave us the most secure border in a lifetime. We got record numbers of deportations of illegal aliens in this country, with the vast majority being criminals. We're doing all the right things.
Well, and you just concluded the operation in Minneapolis, Operation Metro.
I mean, let's be real. Trump pretty much shut down the border, especially the southern border. Nobody's coming through the southern border anymore. So you got to give Trump that. Now, as far as it comes to the whole cleanup of all these undocumented immigrants that rushed the border under Biden, yeah, it's kind of funny how the Dems are literally complaining about a cleanup for a mess that they created. And that's what I'm saying. It's always funny to hear them complain about it, because I'm like, wouldn't have been here if you guys actually would have upheld, border policy. We wouldn't have been here. That's all you guys had to do, was just to make sure that they didn't come in here and we wouldn't be here. But since you didn't, and you didn't care, and you thought you'd get away with it, now we're here.
Surge, which you have touted as a success. Why?
And then I know y'all want to say, well, nobody wants open borders. Yeah, I know. But, well, that's what you guys were accepting under Biden, and now you're crying about the cleanup. I'm sorry, but we're not trying to hear from you guys, especially since you weren't crying about the fact that the mess was being made.
Is it a success, and why is it that Democrats, like those in the state of Minnesota, have trouble understanding exactly that success?
Look, it's a great success, but I don't expect any politician from that state to say, President Trump, congratulations, did a good job. Tom Homan did a good job. Bottom line is President Trump sent me up there to de-escalate, get state and local cooperation, and stop being a sanctuary state, and arrest illegal aliens with a focus on criminals. Over 4,000 arrests, done. De-escalation, done. Collaboration and cooperation with the prisons and the counties, done. When we leave Minnesota, it's a much safer city because we arrested 14 illegal aliens with homicide convictions, 87 sexual assaults, mostly of children, and just a lot of criminal aliens, public safety threats we removed from the streets. It's a great success, and the men and women who carry that badge and gun for ICE, it's safer for them because they can arrest a public safety threat at a jail premise rather than going on the street and trying to arrest them on their turf where they have access to who knows what weapons. And Minnesota is less of a sanctuary state because of what we did there.
And I would just add to that, you also rescued in this operation thousands of children.
Over 3,300 children. The last administration, over 500,000 children smuggled in this country, released to unvetted sponsors. They lost track of 300,000 of them. President Trump has already found 145,000 of them. In Minnesota alone, over 3,300 missing children we found that the last administration wasn't even looking for.
So you didn't get the thanks, as you mentioned, but it appears that Governor Walz and Mayor Frey want to send a bill to the federal government. Here's a little bit of what they have been saying. Listen here.
$103 million in economic impact in just January alone. And so we're calling on the federal government to fully step up, to provide direct financial assistance to our city.
The federal government needs to pay for what they broke here.
Ain't no fucking way. These sons of bitches, bro. What? Hey, what? Bro, I would look at these guys like, hey, yo. No, y'all don't get a damn thing out of us. First off, you decided to sit there and let things get worse. The protesters are the ones who tearing up the city, not ICE. Let's get that straight. Your own constituents did this, so let their taxpayer dollars be the one to fix it, not the government's, but your city, your constituents. Let them pay for that because they're the ones that's causing all the damage here, not ICE. There ain't enough ICE officers to go out there and cause that much damage. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Do all that littering every time they go out there and protest. That's on you guys. They're the ones that want to obstruct ICE and get in the way and get themselves hurt. You guys are the one that don't want to provide a crowd control to protect your constituents. You guys should be the one paying the price.
You don't get to break things and then just leave without doing something about it.
Tom, your reaction.
A lot of things were broken, but it wasn't because of Trump administration. The border, last 4 years, over 10 million illegal aliens crossed that border. That was broken. Where were they then? Did Governor Walz speak out against that with the overdose deaths and the sex trafficking and the no respect to terrorists? No. They broke the border. President Trump fixed the border. They let millions of people in this country illegally release kids to unvetted sponsors. President Trump's fixing that. And what is,
you know, so crazy. I mean, was it the ICE officers that are, breaking the windows of these hotels that the ICE officers are staying in? Like, is it the ICE officers doing that? They're breaking what? The hotels that they're staying in, the windows of the hotels that they're staying in? No, it's the protesters. I mean, are the ICE officers the one burning federal cars? No, it's the protesters. So, I mean, why should ICE have to pay for anything? They're not the ones damaging. It's the protesters that are the ones causing all the damage. Sorry, y'all better pay for that yourselves.
the state of Minnesota break? They were a sanctuary state. Their county jails weren't working with us across the state. So you know what? We fixed it. They ought to be saying thank you. The state's safer because of that. And President Trump gets another win. President Trump gets a win every day. Every day he's winning. Yeah. And I'm just proud to be a small part of this administration.
Real quickly, Tom, it's shocking to me because what you accomplished in Minnesota is to prove that the cooperation with local sheriffs and jails is making communities safer. But yet you have here.
Like, shout out to Lunatic Libertarian. Their systems are broken. No, it's not. No, their system's not broken. It's unused. That's the problem. They have a system. They have levers that they could pull. They're just not using it. And if we think about it, if you have a system and a process that's supposed to be followed and you don't follow that system, I mean, you can't really blame the system because like it only works if people are actually using it. I mean, he has the power to go out there and bring out the National Guard and bring out surrounding local police to provide crowd control. But Tim Walz is not doing it. And he has the system available to him. He has the power. He's just not using it. So we can't say it's failed if they're not just going to use the system that's been provided. Like, I don't know why they're not using it, but because they're not using it, this complete failure of, well, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, oh no, I can't really say that the protesters are failing because they're getting their way. They're getting ICE officers out of Minneapolis. Not all of them, because now there's still about like 1,700 ICE officers in there now, and there's like what? I think it was like over 2,000, maybe almost close to 3,000 now. But I know 1,000 of them, or 700 to 1,000 of them, have been removed. But there's still a good amount of ICE officers. So we can't really say that the protests are useless. But I'm gonna be real with you. It's just a complete shit show when it comes to the protesters out there, because look at how it looks. Look at ICE officers. ICE officers are getting hurt. Protesters are getting hurt and killed. ICE officers are getting hunted down and entrapped. Like, this is a shit show. And it's only like this is because of, well, Mayor Jacob Fry and Tim Walz. You can't really blame ICE because, well, let's look across the board in all the other states and cities. They're getting help. Their local police or the National Guard are actually helping ICE officers. This is why you don't see this happening in other places. And for some reason, left-wing media is not going to point out that fact to you that, well, they're actually getting cooperation with local law enforcement in other other states and cities. But in Minneapolis, well, there's a special case where they get zero help, but they get all the salacious rhetoric towards them.
In New York, where I am, Governor Hochul wants to get rid of that 287G program, which allows and provides for that cooperation, as well as a bill that's passed the Maryland legislature. A few seconds here, but your reaction to Democrats in states like that?
New York State's my home state, and look, Governor Hochul played the tape. She said for the last 6 months, ICE should be concentrating on criminals and forget about everybody else. ICE should be concentrating on criminals. Then she locks us out of the jails. She can't square that. Just politicians. It's politics at its worst. They're putting politics ahead of public safety. Bottom line.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And that's the bottom line. They're putting politics over public safety. And if they actually cared about their constituents, they'd have brought out local police to provide that crowd control to, enforce public safety of these protesters. Instead, they didn't, and they let these protesters get out of control and start obstructing ICE officers, and that's what's getting them hurt and killed. And you got to blame leadership, because let's be real, step one of public safety starts with them. And if they're not using that system or the tools that's available, then you can't really blame the systems or the tools, but you got to blame their leadership.
Homan, thank you for joining us.
You got it. Thanks, Griff.
And don't go anywhere. More Fox and Friends is next.
All right. We ain't going to tune into the rest of Fox and Friends. So we're going to go ahead and get over here to Forbes. And because Akeem Jeffrey sat down with Forbes. So